essentially it's the same old business model as any pro skier, even most like sports teams, you have sponsors, or like you do stuff that's interesting and entertaining. You play a football match, or you ski down a mountain. People watch it. Those people watching it, you can then you can pay, you can charge brands to expose these people to whatever the brand is selling. Basic marketing. That's the basic business model of what I do and what all skiers do. Essentially, I think a lot of skiers are kind of stuck in this idea that then, ski well, money will come, which is like, yeah, to a certain extent, it's true, but also like what the only revenue source for most skiers is marketing. Like that is what we do. We are billboards for um, ads, essentially, and then of course skiing well helps that. What I've done, I think, a little bit differently than maybe most skiers, and when I talk to other skiers about their contracts, is that I always structure what I do in terms of the project. Like I'm never, or rarely at least, like the price of like working with me is rarely just being like me being an ambassador for a brand, or they getting to be associated with me. It's always like, I'm going to do this web series, I'm going to do this movie. Here's the price for being involved with that. Like I'm focused on the output, what is being produced, in that sense. So I'm just conscious of like, where is value being created here, and how is it being created, and how is everyone involved benefiting? Like I'm really conscious of, I always want all the partnerships that I do, all the collaborations I do. I'm very conscious of like always giving more than I take. Like I need to create whatever I'm left with needs to be, just a chunk of all the total value that is created. And so that my partner's also left with preferably more than I am, that, giving more than I take in my professional relationships. And also I try in most relationships, it's nice to give. I think that's a thing. But talking to other skiers in the industry, I do think like, at least I think a lot of people would benefit from like really trying to identify what value is being created here. What are we doing here of value? How are we doing it? And how can we do more of it? Sort of having this focus, whereas a lot of people, even just making ski movies, a lot of people take for granted that like skiing and like the depiction of skiing in itself has value. And I'm like, I don't know, man, like it needs to be like packaged in a way that's entertaining and or informative or something to like actually give value to the viewer. And when you give value to the viewer, you'll have more viewers, and then that'll have more marketing potential, or you can sell tickets, I guess. Yeah.
Is it difficult, say, when going to a brand, of actually quantifying what X amount of views on YouTube would equate to in terms of sponsorship value?
No, not really, actually, because there is a price for, you can buy YouTube views, like from YouTube. Like you can buy ad placement and you'll pay per view, which most brands do. Like the biggest advertisers right now are Facebook and Google. Google owns YouTube. You have a cost per view. The cost per view is generally about 2.4 cents, I think, per view. And then you can just multiply that up to whatever. And that is just the publishing cost, right? So that's the cost of publishing the ad that you've already produced with the production company, with talent that you're paying, all of that. So you have the production cost, you have the association cost, working with different people to give your brand credibility, and then you have the publication cost. What I do is that I sort of bundle all that together. Like I run the production company, I am the talent, and I publish in channels that get millions of views. And then I can you can do quick maths, and generally, I don't know if you remember the quick maths one. And generally, I've been able to sell partnerships to my sponsors where they get more value for their money than working with one of these like giants, tech industry giants. So it's and that goes over well with brands and owners and marketing departments. They're like, okay, we can work with this guy who'll give us high quality stuff at a cheaper price than Facebook and Google. And that's an easy story to tell. And I think that that's also a thing when like when you're working with brands, like I always recognize the fact that like if I'm talking to a team manager or a marketing head of marketing or whatever, I know that they in turn have to justify whatever they're doing internally. So I'm like, my job when I'm talking to whoever at whichever company is to like, and they're generally stoked on what I'm doing, right? So they've seen my videos. They want to be a part of this thing that I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, you want to be a part of this? That's cool. That now we're gonna have to, me and you're gonna have to work together to convince the rest of the company to jump on board with this. And we have all these arguments. It's a good price. It's a quality thing. You're gonna reach all these people, and then we work together like that to justify whatever projects we're planning to.
Yeah, Cody Townsend said you got to impress your boss's boss. You got to impress the marketing team's boss because they're the ones who ultimately pay.
Exactly, exactly. Like you want the owners of the company you're working with to be on board, right? And it's interesting because like you can know that you're creating value, like you can know the amount of people you reach, blah blah blah. There's this thing about like being humble and like not bragging, but then there's this other thing about just being informative and like actually yeah, clearly stating what value is being created and letting people know about that.
Amazing. Nikolai, thank you so much for coming onto the show. You've been informative, insightful, and very entertaining. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.